Hello, young or old here, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about classic motorbikes and would I have one? Stay tuned and watch the intro. Now, if you've seen some of my videos, you'll notice that I go to a few classic bike meets like Hall Park, Huggies, and recently Industry and Supply. If I'm really honest with myself, I go to these meets more for a ride out, to meet friends, something to do, somewhere to go, and let me think, breakfast. Now that doesn't mean I don't like the classic bikes. Yeah, I can see the attraction to them. But what is a classic bike? I think it's all down to the rider's age and what they class as a classic. Now, my dad claims he don't like motorbikes and I should get rid of mine, grow up and start playing golf. Now, nothing against golfers, but just not my thing. Now, my dad used to ride motorbikes when I was just a twinkle in his underpants. But by the time I was a fetus, he had to get rid of his as he needed to move out of grandma's house and my parents needed to buy their own house. My dad never got another bike and I suppose that was my fault. So I think he's just jealous that I still ride. I took my dad for a coffee to the Triumph factory and he went round the museum looking in awe of all the bikes there. And he was using his phone to take lots of pictures. But remember, he don't like bikes. He did get very excited when he saw the bike he rode back in his day, a Triumph from the 1940s. So this is a bike that we would both describe as a classic. Now, if you're into bikes at the end of the 1990s, you'll remember the Yamaha R1, and they are classed as like modern classics now. But my dad would say they're just made out of plastic with no room to sit on. So no way would he consider that a classic bike. So the definition of a classic will depend on a person's own opinion. Now, I like the classics that stood out in their day. I mean, who wouldn't mind a nice rough Superior in their collection, if you could afford one? Imagine the price of one like the one Lawrence of Arabia was killed on. In fact, one fetched at auction £315,000. Now, this bike wasn't just iconic because it was owned by Lawrence, but in his day this bike could do 100 miles an hour. Now that's quick even now, but back then it was just an amazing speed. When I was just 17, I had my Suzuki B120, riding round on it, but I really wanted the GT250 like my mates, but my apprentice wages wouldn't allow it. The bike I dreamed of, if I'd have passed my test back then, was the Suzuki GT750, nicknamed the Kettle, as it was water cooled, and also the Kawasaki Z1900. To me, these were the ultimate bikes to have. The reasons for me not wanting either of them nowadays is the price they fetch. You know, they cost quite a lot of money, and the upkeep they need. I see both of these bikes at the meets I go to, and yet I always go and have a look and a quick drool at the fantastic condition of these 40-year-old motorbikes. The owners must spend ages maintaining and cleaning them, and I respect and admire the time and the effort they need to do so. But all that cleaning and polishing, it just isn't for me. I'm no good at mechanics, so I would have the expense of having to pay someone to do it for me. It's plain to see, understand why, if the weather is a bit wet or it has been raining, some of these bikes don't turn up to the meets, as they don't want to get it filthy and have to clean it all again. And I can understand that. Kawasaki have a retro bike out now, the Z900 RS, which I do like. It does look quite a lot like the old Z1900, but it has a 4-into-1 exhaust. Now personally, I think the 4-into-2, which it used to have, it looks better. I do like to see the pipes on both sides of the bike. Last year, I was tempted to buy a 1977 Triumph Bonneville, a T140. It needed some work doing. The early ones were nice, the T120s, but I think I struggle with the, brake and gear lever being on the opposite sides. The main problem, it was a clutch gearbox fault. That I would advise would either be a cheap fix or an expensive one, with the latter not making the bike cost effective. Now, if you're around my age and you got your full licence when you were younger, it would have probably been what we call a round the block job. You got to the test centre, you was told to ride around the block, and then the examiner would get you to perform an emergency stop. And basically, provided you didn't run him over, you'd pass your test. Now, these candidates then were more attracted to the Yamaha RD350, which was the bike of the day, but the main thing that made them so popular, and now iconic, is the fact they were bloody fast. Some of these are around in amazing condition and have been restored to a very high standard indeed. At least these people who lovingly tend to their classics and go to bike meets and shows, it's all good for the likes of me, as I get to look and admire the bikes without needing the time, effort and money to keep them running. But at least they're not ending up on scrap heaps, so in a way we should all be thankful of that. It must be a little bit nerve-wracking actually going for a ride on them, worrying that some clown could knock them off or steal the bike. Granted, that could happen to any of us, but if my GTR was damaged or stolen, the insurance company would pay out, and I can either replace the GTR or get any other capable touring bike. But if your classic was stolen, how easy is it to get it replaced? Sure, you might find another, but if it needs restoring, you've got to start all over again. And looking for spare parts must be an absolute nightmare. So, to sum up, do I like classic bikes? Yeah, and I really do admire the people who put all the work in and the time, the effort and the money to maintain these machines. Total respect for those who do it. Would I want to own one? No, I'm just not that kind of person. I don't have the knowledge, the time or the patience to do it, but I'm thankful they do, because at least I can go along to a meet or a show, look at them and actually enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this video and the content. If you do, please to the dicks, like and subscribe, and as always, take care, ride safe, and bye for now.